Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October version of the Johnston County Planning Board. As is our custom, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask Mr. Little to lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the September 17th Planning Board meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Hudson, second by Ms. Holmes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next on our agenda are subdivisions. Word about subdivisions, if I may. The vast majority of land in Johnston County is zoned agricultural residential, which means by right you can farm it or you can build houses on it. As such, it's not the purview of this board to determine if a subdivision is appropriate for any given location. Merely does the subdivision meet our codes and ordinances. We are also the final approval body for all subdivisions. So if you're going to speak relative to a subdivision, I'm going to need to make sure that you give relevant and competent testimony. And also, again, because we are the final approval body, I will need you to be sworn in. So if you plan to speak relative to any subdivision, whether you're for it, against it, just have questions relative to it, I'm going to need you to please stand and raise your right hand. Do you affirm that the information you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and this is your solemn affirmation?
I do.
All right, thank you. First, we have Raynor Sands Phase 2.
Yes, sir. Owner is Anastasia Perez Martinez. There was no developer listed on the application. Surveyor engineer is Jimmy Barber Surveying. The location is Reedy Prong Church Road at Raynor Sands Road in the Meadow Township. It's served by Meadow Fire and Benson Rescue. It's 2.674 acres, one lot proposed, Johnston County Public Water, individual septic. Traffic count for Reedy Prong Church Road is 200 vehicles per day. That was in 2019. This portion of Reedy Prong Church Road does not appear on the comprehensive transportation plan as needing improvement. In regards to direct driveway access onto Reedy Prong Church Road, major subdivisions to be located on local roads shall be so designed that there shall be no more than one direct residential driveway connection per 500 feet along the same side of the local road, unless it can be demonstrated that the proposed subdivision cannot be physically designed, that no reasonable alternative exists, or it would create an unreasonable hardship without a corresponding public health to prohibit individual driveway access onto a local road. Also from the Johnston County Land Design Manuals, when developments creating 4 or more lots, because this is part of a major subdivision, where no easement exists and where the parent tracts have direct road frontage and easement shall not be allowed, the development must dedicate a right-of-way meeting the requirements of this section. A waiver may be allowed if determined by the planning board that in pursuit of this section a hardship is created upon the property that provides no benefit to the safety, welfare, and quality of life to the public.
Any questions of staff? So I assume that this was just a oddly shaped lot as part of the previous subdivision?
It appears so, yes, sir, and now they're wishing to subdivide this one lot.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of Raynor Sands Phase 2? And if everyone that speaks will give us your name and address, please, I would appreciate it for the record.
My name is Jimmy Barber. I'm a professional land surveyor at 213 South 2nd Street in Smithfield. I'm representing the owner there wanting to divide this into 2 lots to put another dwelling on the lot that fronts Reedy Prong Church Road. It's been before environmental health. They've approved it.
Questions of the gentleman?
So for the driveway, it's saying it's like there's a gravel drive. Is that going to be added or is that already existing?
It's existing, yes.
Okay. So is that looks like it's to access 3B. How would 3A be accessible?
It comes in off the Raynor Sands Road to access easement at the top.
So this is the lot now, Raynor Sands Drive.
Okay.
Access is back here.
Okay.
And
The owner lives on 3B
Okay.
right there.
the owner,
Owner lives on 3B or 3A?
The top one that she was talking about, right? It'd be 3A.
3A.
Okay.
This plat's been revised since this one was done too. I don't think you had the updated plat.
do you have an updated plat you'd like
That's
us
the
to
one we
look at?
have.
I think there's a house. There's a house up here somewhere.
Yeah. I
See
saw
right
that one.
there?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
I was trying to figure
I
out
don't
how
see
the
one on
difference in
this
the
one.
Yeah, that's what I think they're gonna
acreage.
add.
I know.
Yeah, over here
Yeah.
on this side.
There's the
Something like that.
revised,
Mm-hmm.
there's the revised.
So will that keep the the
Oh,
current
it's more
owner
like it.
on 3A?
Yes,
That little narrow track?
yes. That's where the,
And this whole thing is part of the original Rainer Sands subdivision?
correct.
Does the subdivision allow for a lot to be subdivided again? Or does anybody know?
It was done in 2012, so I'm not sure.
I think what you're asking is, do the restrictive covenants say that it can be subdivided once it's a subdivision?
Well, that and two, when it was originally approved.
That's the reason we're here now, because to do another lot, would move it to the major category instead of a minor.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. From our perspective, it can as long as if it comes as a major and it's approved through this process, it potentially could get.
And you said environmental health reviewed it for
Yes.
soils.
The crosshatched area that you see up there on 3A is going to be the septic area for lot 3B.
So the septic area for B is gonna be on lot A?
Yes, it's an easement, septic easement, which environmental health allows.
Okay.
So that'll
It's not an
pass-
off-site, it's an easement.
that'll pass over that buffer? I guess they've approved it.
Yes, this is why they told us to do it.
And it's going to go across Sharp Branch, the little branch that runs behind the houses?
The
Bless you.
easement line will, not the distribution lines, but just the supply line.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Members of the audience have asked if folks could get a little closer to the microphones. They're having a little bit of trouble hearing. Thank you.
So it looks like 3A property line has just been butted and moved over, so it's one straight.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
What was the distance from the driveway to that intersection at Brock Road?
It looks like it splits.
Yeah, but
like-
distance from the gravel drive to Brock Road, the gravel drive that'll serve the new dwelling.
About 200 feet
Yeah,
by the scale.
that's what I was thinking.
Other questions? Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Raynor Sands Phase 2? Yes, ma'am. Give us your name and address, please.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Williams, and I live at 186 Thornton Road. And I am downstream from where this is proposed. You can't see our parcel up there. I'm here tonight because I'm expressing concern about where the wetland area is. We are downstream, and we have livestock on our property. And over the last year, we have watched the wetlands in that area be filled with debris. of drywall, styrofoam. The home that is currently on, if you go back, I believe it's 3D, that home was placed there without a permit, and it hangs over where the stream flows. Now, I know that the homeowner or the property owner is trying to mitigate that, and I do understand that they have been fined twice in reference to not getting permitting and in reference to illegally dumping debris that was from another home that was being renovated. And it is my understanding that they are cleaning that up. However, my concern is I couldn't find what the results of the environmental impact study was. I've looked on the website and I couldn't find that out to determine if the current actions are indicative of what will to come, if they're willing to not follow permitting rules, land use rules, and just allow it to flow downstream. If this is approved tonight, what else will happen? We are trying on our property to improve our soils and be good stewards of that land. And we have switched from conventional farming practices to regenerative farming practices to try to improve our soil health and protect that area of Johnston County that is developing to try to keep it in agricultural. And so I want to express those concerns tonight. I understand that pretty much the decision has been made. So I'm just asking for future reference, and if there's any chance at all for the public to see what was the result of the environmental study. And based upon what I just heard, so you're going to allow an access
I'm sorry,
through
what decision,
wetlands?
I'm sorry, what decision do you believe has already been made?
Based upon the presentation to you of the approval that this will be approved as an extension of the original subdivision,
No, ma'am,
Rainer Sands.
this board determines if the subdivision is approved or not. They mentioned environmental health, giving some direction
Correct.
on the septic layout, for example. But this board is the one that determines whether this subdivision will be allowed or not.
Okay.
So no approval's been made in that regard.
I appreciate the clarification. That was my understanding. And so my question then is, the access for the driveway will go through a wetland, based upon what I just saw. Now, the original Rainer Sands subdivision, I don't know for sure, and I know, sir, that you said please state facts in your testimony or in your questioning. I have not been able to find this answer. There's a reason why that area wasn't included in the original subdivisions, because of that wetlands area. So has that changed? Because they've been filling it in for the last 6 months, because they go by my house every day with truckloads of dirt, and no one was there to question what they were doing. And so I want to preserve that stream, and as I look through it, it drains into Mill Creek, which Mill Creek eventually drains into the Neuse River. And so I just want to be good stewards of the land that's around me, and I want to make sure that my livestock, the water that runs through that land, that my pasture isn't contaminated with drywall debris. We all know there's some drywall that has formaldehyde in it, and I want that land to be preserved. I want my family to be able to continue that land in agriculture. Thanks
you,
for
ma'am.
giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts and my concerns.
No problem. Any questions? Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Rainer Sands Phase 2? Okay, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendations denial due to the less than 500 feet of driveway separation on the same side of the road and direct driveway access onto Reedy Prong Church Road.
Staff have any reservations from a amended plat being presented at this meeting?
Not necessarily, no. We do have concerns about the dumping, since it is an active violation, and there is another violation with regard to the placement of home on the unpermitted.
Okay.
So just for clear up, there is a house there now.
Yes, it's
And
not
it's
being,
permitted
It's
house.
sitting there, it is
Right.
not in place.
Right. Doesn't have a CO to it.
Okay.
And it'll end up being on 3A.
3B. I
3B.
think.
Oh, so 3B does have a property sitting there that's just
the
not.
house got moved on to
The
that
house was moved
property
on there.
without being
Oh,
permitted.
okay.
The active dumping that's being, the part that.
We have an
we're
open
talking about.
investigation about the
Against
dumping.
the applicant.
Yes.
Yes.
And I also find the septic easement to be problematic. I think this subdivision was designed with this lot the way it is for a reason. And we've heard staff concerns. I don't know that the septic easement is certainly, again, it wasn't designed that way from the beginning for a reason. I don't know that it makes sense now.
Make a
Well, sir-
motion.
I tend to agree.
I second.
All right, we got a motion to deny by Mr. Little, a second by Ms. Holmes. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next on our agenda is Hammer Trap.
Yes, sir. Hammer Track, owner is 242 Land LLC. That's also the developer. Surveyor engineer is Aussie Gilbert. It is located at NC Highway 242 South, just south of Ashley Road in the Banner Township. It's served by Banner Fire and Benson Rescue. It's 22.34 acres, 20 lots proposed. Johnston County Water individual septic traffic count for that road is 4,300 vehicles per day in 2021. This portion of NC Highway 242 South appears on the Comprehensive Transportation Plan as an existing major thoroughfare with adequate design capacity.
Any questions of staff?
Todd, you said it was Aussie's, is it Scott?
It,
Dalton.
on the application, it had
Okay,
Halsey.
I got you.
Yes.
Got you.
All right, thanks, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of Hammer Track?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. My name is Jonathan Barnes. I'm employed with Dalton Engineering and Associates. We're located at 446 East Main Street, Clayton, North Carolina. And our office is assisting the owner and developer of the project with the subdivision application. This is going to be more of a traditional subdivision layout that we see here in the county. Single street, cul-de-sac at the end, to be designed and ultimately petitioned by NCDOT for their future maintenance. We are proposing a mailbox kiosk, a couple of lots in on the right-hand side of the street. The lots are proposed to be served on-site with conventional septic systems, septic tanks, septic fields. Anyway, here tonight to help answer any questions that I can.
Looks like that existing pond on the adjacent landowner, are they gonna have access completely around that pond?
That was one of my questions.
Do we know where that property line is on the top of that bank of that pond?
On the preliminary plat that's provided, that's
access.
based on GIS. At this point in time, we don't have an exact location of the pond and riparian buffer.
So we're gonna make sure they have access completely around that pond?
We talk
The
about,
owner that owns the pond. I just think it's something that probably needs to be talked about.
okay.
And you're saying, Gary, cause of lot 17, 18, 19, and 20?
Yep.
Yeah,
Look like they border the edge of the pond.
right.
Well, it almost looks like some of the pond is on 20 and 19.
It's close,
Yeah.
yeah. It's close, that's what I was wondering where that property line is, and, I don't know if the adjacent landowner's here, but he may want access completely around that pond, just be able to take care of it.
Yep, that was one of my questions.
Jonathan, the light shaded area on on this plan, what is that? Is that a buffer?
Riparian.
That's a riparian buffer.
What were you looking at, Tim?
This one right here, that's the buffer.
It's a light blue shade.
I can't,
Yeah.
oh, here, on the picture, there you go.
That's right.
Yeah, the edge of that pond is real close, if not just over that property line.
Yeah, that was my concern.
Yeah, 20 and 19.
Yeah, that was my concern, was just making sure the owner can, if they needed to mow around the edge of it or maintain it, they have access to. I don't know if that would need to be an easement on the back of the
Yeah, I don't know
property.
if it's an easement or moving the property
I
lines
don't know.
or,
I don't think they'd want to move the property line, because otherwise 20 and 19 could do a survey and then have access to the pond.
Right, that's my
Well,
concern.
and it's always been an issue probably between two landowners,
I'm
not
sure
be
it
an
is.
issue
Correct.
between
3,
4 or
5.
5 landowners.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like the pond belongs to Samuel Bird and Shannon Austin. I may be wrong.
That would be correct.
That's correct?
And I
In
assume
its
that,
entirety?
I can't say if it's entirely, but a large majority of that. Well, I know the property, I know those owners, a large majority of that pond is on that property.
Have you got it pulled up in map click?
I assume it's.
Yeah, zoom in on that corner of that pond if you don't mind. You can sort of see the property line.
Just keep in mind those property lines.
Yeah. Yeah, just a bit at times. But yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
It is extremely close.
I don't
If you
know.
can move.
Any proposed solution?
I mean, would the board care to see some type of, maybe an access easement within the riparian buffer?
And that's I mean, if you look at it
But
there,
I think,
it's a glorified buffer, if anything.
my thing is, if they had an easement, I don't want those owners of lots 18 or 17 through 20 to think that they then have, access to the pond because they're at an easement. I don't
Right,
want
which-
them,
Which poses the problem that Tim said
Yeah.
a while ago. Now you're opening up an issue between 5 parcel owners.
right,
How hard would it be
to move that
to move that line from
to the
at the
riparian
edge of the
buffer.
pond down here, where then it takes a slight left-hand turn?
Or
Move it over just enough to keep the pond on the other
I
property?
think we
Or
need to
to verify.
verify it.
Or to verify where the line actually is in relation to the pond.
Well, they've done a survey.
Well, so what we're showing on here is actually based on Johnston County
Oh, serious?
GIS. So it's going to be close, but it's not going to be exact. A survey is in the works to verify the exact location of the edge, the edge of water / where riparian buffer starts.
And I'm just throwing this out there, asking. And Preston, it could be for you as well. Is it possible that we were to make some sort of approval with that a condition to make sure the line is moved at the pond?
It may be
I mean,
better just to
I-
wait,
I think we table it.
table it.
Yeah, I'm not sure you can make a condition from this and commit the developer to move the line, per se. You can make the ask, and certainly entitled to his property, is there a concern there?
I think,
It does create a bigger concern when you're talking about additional property and there's more than 2.
Yeah, that's
but
my
once again,
concern.
it's still multiple property owners anyway, either way you look at it.
Well, if they decide between themselves to move the property line, it's only 2 properties, correct?
Certainly.
At this point.
At this point. Now, one thing to consider, the maintenance, generally speaking, maintenance for the pond is gonna be more, what we're most concerned about is the dam. That parallels the road. You can see
Right.
the outlet pipe for the overflow.
Right,
So
right.
So they have access to that to maintain that and repair if needed. So that's the bigger concern. You could certainly request of the applicant to have them identify that and see if there's a solution.
I just personally think it'd be better.
I think we ought to wait and have a survey, actual survey done, performed, and bring that information back to the board to present it. To show
Well,
where the
kinda
exact
give 'em-
lines are at.
I mean, in my opinion, would be give them a little bit of direction so they don't waste another 30, 60, 90 days, that, so they can have, start some kind of communication with the adjacent property owner. That property owner may not even want the whole pond, but
You hear our concern, multiple property owners on the pond. I think we'd like us have a proposed solution to that and probably also understand exactly where the edge of that pond is relative to the lots. I
Agreed.
think we want to avoid multiple ownerships of a pond, particularly a sliver of a pond.
Yeah.
I definitely want to hear if there's anybody else here that wants to speak relative to this subdivision, so, I want to ask that first, but I think that's kind of where it sounds like our heads are at. If it,
Might be an option for the, maybe the riparian buffer around the pond to be placed into the HOA.
we've done that before, we've seen that
And-
before as well.
And maybe
yes.
have, let the HOA and the adjacent property owner meet if there are maintenance issues around the pond.
We've approved that before. That would be consistent with what we've done, just to avoid multiple ownership of a property. But any other questions other than the pond? Okay, I'm gonna see if anyone else has to speak. I'll come back to you in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to the hammer track? All right, that was easier than I anticipated.
So we still gotta make it.
Do we bring it back to you?
Yeah, let's bring back Stan.
Staff recommendation was preliminary approval subject to the terms and conditions and the conditions and requirements in the staff report.
I think we table it until we have verification on where the pond boundaries are.
a second.
How long do you want to table it?
Was that a motion?
I can make it a motion, sure.
Please.
I make a motion to table until we have a survey verifying the boundaries of the pond, and let's make that table for 30 days.
It'll be your
November 19th.
November
Is that
Can
enough,
I-
is that enough time though, or should we do, is that enough time, or do you need longer?
It's a month. It's a month, okay.
Could we shoot for the 19th?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, okay. That give you enough time to do what you need to do?
Let's shoot for the 19th.
Okay.
Okay.
And just for clarity, we have no other issues with this?
No.
subdivision? Just, that's the only one, okay.
Okay. And
Second.
okay, so I have a motion to table until November 19th by Ms. Holmes, a second by Ms. Howard. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next is Earp West.
Yes, sir. Owner is David Earp. Developer is Cloudbreak Investments LLC. Surveyor engineer is Adams and Hodge Engineering. Location is Lynch Road and NC Highway 42 East in the Wilders Township, served by Northside Fire District and THS Rescue Squad. It's 30.51 acres, 22 lots proposed. Johnston County Public Water, individual septic. Traffic counts not available for Lynch Road. This portion of Lynch Road does not appear on the comprehensive transportation plan as needing improvement.
Any questions of staff? Thanks, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of Earp West?
Good evening. I'm Andrew Hodge with the Becker Morgan Group, 314 East Main Street in Clayton. And I know y'all used to seeing Donnie up here, but he's on vacation, so.
Good for Donnie.
Smart move.
His daughter just got married Saturday, so he's
He
taking
needs a
care of it.
vacation.
Very good.
But Todd did a great job of telling you what, if any other questions, I'll be glad to hopefully answer them. It's just a cul-de-sac with septic systems, public water. The mail kiosk is at the end of the cul-de-sac. There's wetlands at the back. They have been delineated by professional environmentalists, and the soil, we had a buffer call, and the buffers have been removed from the site.
Any other questions of the applicant? Thanks, sir. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Earp West? Yes, sir. Give us your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Ronald Case. I live at 117 Battery Avenue, or Battery Circle. I have two concerns. I would like to know if there's any kind of a buffer between my property and the property that's going, there's two pieces of property that's going to back up to my piece of property. When I bought there almost 3 years ago, I was under the impression from one of the builders that there would be no property back there. It would just be woodland. And as I'm trying to look at this, I can't discern whether there's a buffer between the two properties or not. And I'd like to get a little clarification on that.
Sure, I can give you an answer to that. Well, our ordinance does not require buffers between like uses, so we don't have a requirement for a buffer.
Okay.
We will ask the applicant if anyone is planned. Sometimes buffers are included as subdivisions, but it's not a requirement. Also, generally, from a construction standpoint, what we do see on wooded parcels is that the entire parcel is not always cleared. So there is some natural vegetation that's left after building of the house. Again, I don't know that to be the case with this. What did you say your name was again? I want to make sure I call
Ronald Keys, 117.
Keys. Okay, very good. We will certainly ask if any buffers are planned along that property line.
Okay, how would I find out about it?
Oh, we're going to ask the applicant here in just a second.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Other questions?
Could I ask who the builders are, or it's going to be, or are they going to be individual builders?
Again, that's not something that's part of our requirements. We can ask the developer if they even know at this point in time, but I don't know if they even do.
Okay. My second concern is right on Lynch Road, Walnut Hall is on either side of the road. And access to 42 in the morning when school's in is impossible. There's a half-hour window there that you can't get across. And it's very dangerous, and I'm wondering whether there's going to be a stoplight up there, a four-way stop or something. There's been fender benders up there already, people bringing their children to school. We have to wait, well, we do, instead of going roundabout, we just wait until that time frame is over to get out there. So we'd like to know if there's going to be anything done with that intersection. It's very dangerous.
I feel like, isn't there a four-way stop planning to come there?
Rest, is there a four-way stop in there?
My understanding is that there is a four-way, there's a roundabout that is planned for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So which is just to the east.
Yeah.
We've requested design to see that, but we haven't seen that yet. I'm not sure, I don't believe there's any plans to Lynch Road.
Okay. Yeah, if there's a roundabout down at Thanksgiving, that doesn't help the problem whatsoever.
Well, the county is currently undergoing a comprehensive transportation plan, so you can find information on that on the planning department's website, and there's opportunities for public comment on that as well. So that would be a good one to bring up as a location that may need some improvement. But we'll also ask the applicant if NCDOT has indicated any improvements at that intersection, either as part of this development or just in general.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming. Anyone else like to speak as it relates to Earp West? Okay.
have
Heard a question about if there's any buffers planned, anything you may or may not want to offer on builders, and then if NCDOT's indicated any transportation improvement.
We do not plan to do any buffers or provide any buffers, but it's not, we're not doing pad grading, so typically you don't clear the whole lot, but it can't be guaranteed. And have not heard from DOT or hadn't asked them if they're doing anything down at 42. And we don't have a builder decided.
Then wouldn't it be more than 22?
Any other questions of that?
I have a
Yes.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Michelle.
You go, Fred.
Lot 16A, 17A,
That was
and
my
19A.
question.
Minimum lot size requirements in the subdivision are 30,000 square feet. None of
Those are
these-
off-site septic lots for,
Okay.
like 19A is off-site septic for 19.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
Okay,
there you go.
so those areas would not necessarily be cleared.
Just for the septic
Put
system.
this up there.
Okay,
Well, typically just for the septic system.
Right.
But still, it's owned by the property owner, I guess he could do.
okay.
Is that primary, or is that the backup septic?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
So just a point of, that might
Because
be
that would
good
help
for you
with,
to know.
well, that's what I'm saying, that would be close to his property.
Right.
So then-
16A that is shown on your plat is actually for a septic field. It is not a home site. So generally, and if it's the primary septic site, they'll generally clear just enough for the septic field. That's not guaranteed, but that's generally what they'll do. If it's the backup septic field, they won't really do anything out on it at all initially. So that might help you from a buffer standpoint. Yes, sir. Other questions? Thanks, sir. Bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendations, preliminary approval subject to the conditions and requirements in the staff report.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Little. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, next.
I was just going to pull in Nicole and just say, I'd like to make note of the enrollment in the subdivision.
She'll be honored, I'm sure. Next, Margot Manor.
Yes, sir. Margot Manor owner is Netta Grady. Developers Triangle Land Partners LLC. Surveyor engineers 4D Site Solutions, Inc. It's in the 3500 block of Benson Hardy Road, just south of Pleasant Hill Church Road in the Elevation Township, served by West Johnston Fire District and EVS Rescue Squad. It's 125.82 acres, 108 lots proposed. Johnston County Public Water. Traffic count's not available. Also individual septic tanks on those. Traffic count's not available. This portion of Benson Hardy Road does not appear on the comprehensive transportation plan as needing improvement. A reverse landscape buffer is required for all lots backing up to Benson Hardy Road. Since this is over a 100-lot subdivision, a TIA was completed. It is on your iPads if you want to take a look at that.
With respect to the TIA, there were no substantive.
Right.
Since I can't get onto the site anymore, could you forward me those in the future? Or yeah, if you got a copy, that'd be good. Thank you.
I have the whole packet here. Is it in that?
I'll get the copy.
Was there a turn lane? Was there a turn lane for this or no?
No, they didn't have anything added in the TIA.
I'm surprised with the 100 lots.
They were saying, really, it's like 60/40.
Okay, cool. Thanks, sir.
Okay,
So
No, sorry.
that's just a lot of
I
traffic.
think it is, in my thought. But they were saying it was only producing 60 in the morning and 80 at night, something like that.
And by general statute, the road has to have 4,000 cars a day
Yeah.
on a secondary
You
road.
gotta have at least 100 coming in and out of there.
And what does Benson already have now? That's what I was looking at. Sure.
1,000. That's gonna be generated from this, which you add to the road itself.
Was there was the VAD noted on the plat? Because I didn't see it.
I don't see one either, Michelle.
Yeah. I'm not seeing a VAD is on here.
Nor do I.
All right, any other questions of staff? All right, who'd like to be heard on behalf of Margot Manor?
Mr. Chairman, Scott Brown, 409 Chicago Drive, Suite 112, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28306. I'm with 40 Site Solutions. We're the civil engineers and surveyors for the property. We're here on behalf of Triangle Land Partners. Won't try to repeat anything that you have previously heard, but we've had, it is on both sides of Benson Hardy Road. It is 108 lots, which just does trip the threshold requirement for TIA. We did have a TIA completed. That was coordinated through both the county and through DOT. DOT has reviewed the TIA. The TIA did not recommend any improvements, and DOT agreed with the findings of the TIA that no improvements were warranted for Benson Hardy Road. We have had fire flow testing done. There's plenty of water available for the development. We're providing the 15% open space requirement outside of the wetland areas. We've had the buffer determination done. There was no buffers determined for the piece of property. We have had a preliminary septic analysis and all completed and confirmed that we have plenty of septic available on the lots as shown. It will be public streets, future DOT maintenance. So outside of that, I'm available for any questions that the board may have of me at this time, but it's pretty straightforward. We are in compliance as far as I know, with all the requirements of the ordinance.
Questions of the gentleman?
I just was going to say thank you for keeping the open space.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to this subdivision? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jason Carter. I live at 904 Noose Ridge Drive in Clayton. If you could pull up the GIS, I'll kind of point out where we are. And to answer your question, as I understand it, the voluntary ag districts, there are 3 that surround this property,
Yes.
and they were not, as
Yes.
I could tell, designated.
That's what I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah. So we are the property to the north of the subject property. We have both sides of Benson Hardy Road, and we are also north of, you can see the lines, he's indicated the lines there. So we have all 3 of the parcels you see there on both sides of the property there, so, of the road. I do kind of have one question. I don't know that if they could answer that before I start, because it will kind of affect my conversation a little bit on this.
Go ahead. What you got?
Is this intended to be an MI Homes property development? Okay. Okay. So I didn't know if they were coming in or not. So, okay. As I said, my name's Jason Carter. My sister, mother, and I own the property just to the north of the proposed subdivision. I'd like to share just a little bit of history with you on this property. It was originally deeded to the Turlington family by the state of North Carolina shortly after the Revolutionary War in recognition of his service to the nation. It's a tiny part of thousands of acres that he received that are now part of Johnston, Cumberland, and Harnett counties. It's been farmed by our family or someone we have leased it to for almost 250 years. In spite of the fact that we receive 2 or 3 offers a month for our property from developers, my sister and I have made a promise that we will continue to keep this land dedicated to farming as long as we are alive. My hope is that my 2 boys will continue that commitment. I've attended several of your meetings in the last year, and I hear you often say, "for the record." So I'd like to do the same. For the record, in the last 3 full years, this board has approved 3,400 lots that have consumed over 4,900 acres of land. That's a total of over 7.5 square miles, the majority of which is farmland. Through June of 2024, the board's approved as many lots as were approved all of last year. So it's continuing. I know that's something we can't affect here, but I would like it to be on the record, and I would love to continue this conversation offline as to what effect the 30,000 and 40,000 square foot lots are having on agricultural property in the county. It's just consuming it tremendously. If you back out a little bit, what you'll see on the GIS is our property is also in the 2nd largest concentration of agricultural districts in the county, behind the area between 4 Oaks and Smithfield. That designation is our way of letting the county know our intention for our land, that it will be used for farming purposes. In return, our expectation, partly in recognition of the history farming has had in this county, is that the county do everything in its power to minimize the impact large developments have on our ability to continue that tradition. So I'd like to get to some specifics about the development. Our land is currently planted with about 50 acres of peanuts. The southern portion of our land borders the Grady property. That border on both sides of Benson Hardy Road is primarily wetland and swamp. I can't get into the technicalities of what qualifies as a wetland, but it's wet and it's land. So I can't talk to you. I'm not a hydrologist and therefore not qualified to talk to you in technical terms about the flow of water across these 2 properties. However, the best way I can describe it is to tell you that it is in equilibrium. The swamp and the wetlands are currently able to absorb all but the heaviest of rainfalls. However, we've seen the frequency of those increase, and with it, the southern border of our property, which borders the northern border of the subject property, has been susceptible to flooding. Currently, all of our tillable land is planted with peanuts and is tended by Nick Dupree and his family from Dupree Farms. He would have been here tonight except for the fact that he's harvesting peanuts. His family is one of the larger farming families in the county, and they've shifted much of their focus to produce. This proposal includes almost 19 acres of impervious land, land that will no longer be able to absorb the increased amounts of rainfall we are experiencing. Furthermore, that water has to go somewhere, and the only place it can go is the start of the Mingo Swamp, which is shared between our 2 properties. If that water is not controlled, it has the potential to be catastrophic to the crops, sweet potatoes, peanuts, watermelons, pumpkins, etc., that are planted on the south side of our property. At your January meeting, you voted unanimously to deny the application for Eagles Landing Phase 5. Although most of your concerns centered around the impact logging had on the adjoining properties, a large amount of your conversation focused on the flow of water and the flooding impact it was already having on adjoining properties. The blue lines are on there. The property I'm referencing is to the west of us and just to the north of the other voluntary ag district with the blue line going right through the middle of it. I don't know if you, yeah, that one. That's the one you denied in January. I believe our property is, quote, downstream from that property. I'm using quotes because I'm not sure if there's a blue line from there to us. As you look at it, you don't see it, but I can tell you that water is flowing through there. The point is, you've already discussed water flowing through this area. Additionally, during your June meeting, when you approved the 33-lot Turlington tract, that does not yet appear on the GIS, but it is that one right there. Mr. Ray Pleasant appeared before you to express his concerns about water runoff and the effect it would have on his pond. Please note that the Grady property also drains into that watershed. So you can see his pond down there on the edge of the swamp as well. Just to the east of the Turlington tract we just talked about, that pond also drains into that. So I left the report over there, but they indicated that the subject property comprises 62%, I think, of the watershed that goes into that Mingo swamp. I may be off on the numbers. I don't have it in front of me.
You're right.
We are the other part of that. And it is, this property is the majority of where that water is coming from. So the concern is clearly the impervious and what it's going to affect. So my questions. What's the intent for the existing pond? There's a pond on the property. And then, and I can see it in the plan, and I understand that it is, it appears to be common area, I'm assuming. I understand that many of the things I brought up will be managed by the county during the stormwater review process. However, I'm asking for a commitment from the county and conditions the developer will agree to that can minimize the impact of runoff into the northern part of the subject property, southern portion of my property. I'm not here to ask you to deny it. That's not why I'm here. I understand these things are happening. That's my concern, is water runoff. Secondly, I'm asking for a commitment from the county and conditions the developer will agree to that create visual and windbreak barriers on the northwest portion of the property to minimize the impact plowing will have on the homes in the development. It is a problem there. And I don't want to be dealing with the HOA that's not happy about dust coming across their property. And anything we can do today to mitigate that will help us in the future, I think. And that's really it. Our biggest concern is on the water runoff and the effect it's going to have in not only our parcel, which is, a lot of those properties in that area are growing produce. And so these crops are sitting on the ground, and they're highly susceptible to flooding. And it's, it can be catastrophic to farmers in that area. So.
I want to just make sure I got
Sure.
your questions correct.
Yep.
So what's the plan for the pond?
The pond.
The plan for water runoff, particularly on the east side of Benson Hardy Road, running to the north,
Yep.
and possibility for some type of buffer windbreak to minimize dust from farming operations off on your property onto the house.
Correct. I know it's not a requirement,
Sure.
But it's something I think it would be beneficial to both of us in the long term. Both of us being the developer until it's turned over, and the homeowners, and the future there. I also heard the comment, and I'm a little confused about this. I know we have a blue line running through there, and I thought it did require a buffer, a riparian buffer, correct?
Yes, 50-foot buffer.
50-foot buffer, okay. So, yeah, so that would be also along, right on the east side of the road, the northern part of the development, that would be required in that area as well, where you can see the blue lines in there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
State mandated riparian buffer means there's little to no disturbance in that 50-foot from bank.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned with also, is just, maintaining as much as we can. And it appears they're trying to do that, maintaining the trees in that area to, clearly within the buffer, but even outside of it if possible.
Sure.
So,
Cool. Thank you, sir.
thank you, appreciate it.
Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Margot Manor? Okay, I guess we got a couple questions for the applicant. I think you heard them, the 3-yard plan for the pond, how you'll handle water runoff, particularly in the northeast portion, and then I think talk to us about the buffers and the plan for where you've reserved open space on the west side of Benson Hardy Road on the north side of the property.
Okay, let's start backwards and work our way.
That'll work. Thanks, sir.
Okay. That blue line that you're looking at is not a blue line stream, that's a wetland line. So don't let that be confusing to you. That color blue is just to edge of your wetlands. There is no, as far as the physical constraints of our property, the only stream that actually exists on the property is on the southern border where it's adjacent to Mr. Pollard's property, I think is what it is. So there is no stream up there to have a buffer off of. That blue line might be confusing to you, but that is the edge of a wetland line. We have had a buffer determination completed.
Okay, so you had because I'm looking at MapClick GIS and it does show a blue line, but you had that.
Right, but we went through the county and went through the buffer determination.
Okay.
Yes, sir. The existing pond on the west side of Benson Hardy Road will remain. That's in common area. There's no intention of doing anything with it other than utilize it for an amenity. As like I said, it's going to remain the way it is now. And if you look at the subdivision layout, we're basically developing the center of the property. To the north is open space, to the south is open space. And we're not going to clear any more land than what is required to put a house on. Again, we're not putting padlocks on here. The land to be, if it's not already cleared, I know a lot of that's already in farmland, but any clearing that would need to take place will be minimal, just installation of the septic fields and for the homes themselves. It is a large tract of land. It's 125 acres, almost 126 acres. But of that 126 acres, we're only 15% impervious. So we're below the county's threshold requirement for retention, for on-site retention, because we are going to be remaining 15% or lower with the development that we're putting in. And it is roadside ditches. We're not concentrating water. We're turning water loose where we can turn it loose at between lot lines. I understand the gentleman's concern about his property to the north, but we basically share the same watershed. We're not draining onto his property to the north. His property is draining south, our property is draining north, and we're sharing a common drainage area. So anything that we do on our part, again, keep in mind, we're talking about 30,000 plus square foot lots. So a lot of them are larger, 30,000 square foot. We're going to remain below the 15% impervious requirement. We're draining the natural drainage areas through the wetlands. There is no on-site retention required or planned at this point. Again, we feel like we've met the intent and the requirements of the ordinance. We've in the process now of working through getting our collection of our construction drawings and our permit drawings. And as far as the windbreak between the lots, I'm not going to speak to the windbreak. The developer's here. He came in late, so if y'all want to ask him to speak, he'll have to be sworn in. He missed a swearing in process, but unless he says something to me and I can transfer it back to y'all, but I'm not at a point where I can commit to a windbreak or a dust break on the western side of the property.
So as of now, there's nothing currently planned to be
No, sir.
planted in that open space?
No, sir, that open space is gonna be left absolutely as natural as it can be, other than whatever amenities that the developer might decide or the builder might decide at some point to utilize that pond.
Sure.
To enhance that pond, but right now, every that open space is gonna remain passive.
Okay.
And I think I addressed all the questions.
By my count, you did.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Any other additional questions for that? Okay, thanks, sir. All right, we'll bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendations, preliminary approval subject to the conditions and requirements in the staff report.
The voluntary ag district, though, does need to be added on the plot. I don't know if that would need to be a condition.
We'll say I do appreciate the level of thought that has gone into from the buffering standpoint,
Yes,
leaving land around the edges.
I appreciate it.
I'll also mention too, I mean, both for your benefit, but just for the general audience's benefit, the county is currently going through a rewrite of the development ordinances. I'm assuming there's going to be public involvement opportunities as part of that. The development ordinances are really what guides our decision-making and guides us as a board as to what we approve and don't approve. I mentioned that at the beginning, that we're really beholden to the development ordinances. So if you do have an interest in things developing in a different manner than they currently do, I would urge you to stay very close with that process, participate in that process. Your opinions matter and your input matters, and that's going to be the next best opportunity to help shape how the county develops in the future. So please pay attention to that, and you can find that information on the planning department's website. Sorry, Todd, I said enough for you to sit down.
I do appreciate the open space on this.
And I think that open space is really going to help as a windbreak. They pretty much have left it as it is. And I do appreciate the adjacent landowner coming in and speaking about, these are hard decisions to be made up here. We appreciate hearing from the adjacent landowners.
I'd also like to note the enrollment numbers for Benson Elementary and South Johnston High School.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion to approve by Mr. Lovering, a second by Mr. Sasser. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, subdivision is approved. We're going to take a 5-minute break to let the crowd change over. We'll move on to rezonings after our break.
We've got a few more subdivisions. There's 8 on the
Okay.
agenda.
Thanks, everyone, for your patience. We're going to proceed now with rezonings. For rezonings, we act as an advisory board to the Board of County Commissioners. So for each of these rezoning cases, if you're here for them, you need to please mark on your calendar.
December.
We'll get the date for you.
December 2nd.
December 2nd. So each of these cases will be heard by the Board of County Commissioners on the December 2nd meeting. I will make a note that we have multiple cases that have been requested to be tabled. Those are text amendment 24-02, case 2427, and case 2428. So the last three on the agenda. So if you are here for any of those three cases, those will not be heard this evening. You want us to table them now or just wait till we get there?
You can go ahead and do it now.
Okay. I'll need a motion for each one of these cases to table to the November 19th meeting. So we'll start with 24-02.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Howard, a second by Mr. Little. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, 24-27.
Motion.
Second. Motion by Ms. Howard, a second by, we'll give that one to Jay. Mr. Sasser, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and 24-28.
Motion.
Second. All right, we'll do a motion by Ms. Holmes, a second by Mr. Hudson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed. All right. So
And
now-
Mr. Letchworth, that's for the November meeting.
November
Planning Board meeting.
19th.
Yeah,
Everybody,
thank you.
November 19th. Yes, thank you. All right, we'll proceed with case 24-23.
Yes, sir. This is a petition to rezone 3.2 acres of a 41.82 acre tract located at 2072 Earpsboro Road in the O'Neills Township from general business conditional zoning to agriculture residential. Owner and applicants Renee Baker. It's served by Corinth Holders Fire District Clayton Rescue Squad. Existing land use, it's zoned general business special use district or conditional zoning and approved for indoor and outdoor storage with an antique shop and ice cream retail. Surrounding land use is zoned AR and used for those purposes, on general business special use and approved for indoor and outdoor storage and antique shop and ice cream retail. Traffic count for this portion of Earthville Road is 1,500 vehicles per day, and that was in 2021. It does not appear on the comprehensive transportation plan as needing improvement. It's located within a rural living place type on the county's envisioned Johnston comprehensive land use plan. There were 23 notices sent out. This was originally approved. This portion of this parcel was approved as a, if you can see on the GIS there, it's the upper right. She just wanting to turn it back to residential. That,
Just that portion.
yeah, the other lot would remain what it is.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of case 24-23?
Do you need to do a new swearing in?
Not for rezone.
Okay.
Good evening, I'm Renee Baker. I reside at 2072 Artsboro Road in Zebulon, and I would like to request the 3.2 acres of the 41.82 acres be rezoned or zoned to AR from its current zoning, which is general business. Plans have changed on our tract of land. Our children plan to build on the farm, and we no longer desire commercial zoning.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to case 24-23? All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendation is approval based on the consistency statement on the staff report.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Little. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, case 24-24.
Yes, sir. This is a conditional zoning request for 4.48 acre tract located at 5691 NC Highway 42 East in the Wilders Township from general business special use district to general business conditional zoning. Owner is Pittman Pines LLC, applicant's Hunter Dawkins, Four Rivers Acquisitions LLC. Its conditional zoning request is for a mini storage. It's served by Northside Fire District and THS Rescue Squad. Existing land use is Zone General Business Special Use District. This lot right now is vacant, but it is approved for an event venue. Surrounding land uses is zoned agriculture, residential, and used for those purposes, and also an elementary school. Zone General Business Special Use District and is used as an event venue, and zone planned unit development and is Flowers Plantation. Traffic concerns for this portion of NC Highway 42 East is 6,300 vehicles per day. That was in 2021. It appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as an existing boulevard needing improvement. If approved, road improvements will be required by NCDOT. This area is located within a rural living future land use place type on the county's envisioned Johnston comprehensive land use plan. There were 4 notices sent out to adjacent property owners.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of staff? All right, who'd like to be heard on behalf of case 2424? Good evening.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Board. I'm Mark Frederick with Parker, Poe, Adams, and Bernstein. My office address is 301 Fayetteville Street in Raleigh. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Four Rivers Property Group, and I'm joined tonight by Hunter Dawkins with Four Rivers. Four Rivers is a property group in the business of developing self-service storage facilities, and they are really excited about this opportunity with its location in close proximity to Flowers Plantation, especially with the apartments being developed in that area, providing a good community benefit with additional storage. So we did include the site plan, which is up on the screen now. It's relatively straightforward. There's a primary building, 40,000 square feet. It's 2 stories along the western half, but with the elevation, that building does become 1 story. Those units are all accessed interior to the building, conditioned inside the building with controlled access on both sides of the building. There are some units that are exterior access along that eastern portion of the site, but we have screened all of those, the access to those units, so it's not visible from Highway 42. And then we also included some of the initial elevations, which are on the next slide, which include some high-quality building materials. Four Rivers does take some pride in their development and their projects, so we wanted this building to look good from the street. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
I have a question, and I don't know what they call. Is there a security? I don't know what they call it. Security key in for where the 24-hour where they can stop, key it in, and get in.
Yeah, there will be.
Where does that relate? Is that fence line directly inside the? I guess where I'm going is how far of that is off. How far will that be off for Highway 42?
Hunter Dawkins with Four Rivers Property Group, and we actually don't provide 24-hour access to our facilities, but we will have the gate there to secure the facility 24 hours, but people will not have access 24 hours. Now, there will be key codes, obviously to get through the gates there. And I believe it's drawn up. I'd have to get the measurements for you specifically to answer that, but I believe it's through the turn, so you will not have any backup into Highway 42.
And a condition of the permit for DOT will be a special provision in there. It's got to be a certain.
Is there?
level.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Yeah, we have reached out to NCDOT, and we're just waiting on a response to.
You think I know that, wouldn't you?
Well, you're retired.
Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to case 2424? All right, bring it back, staff.
Staff recommendations, approval based on the fact that the land is already approved for an event center and a storage facility would be a lower volume of traffic use, and consistency statement also in the staff report.
Thanks, sir. One more question for the applicant. Sorry, I should have asked this earlier. Have you read and agreed to all of the conditions in the staff report?
Yes, we have.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Little, second by Ms. Holmes. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that will go forward to the Board of County Commissioners as a recommendation for approval. Thank you, gentlemen. Case 2425.
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself on this for a potential conflict of interest.
Okay, thanks, sir. I need a motion
I
and a
make a
second.
motion to
Second.
recuse.
That was quick.
Take
That
your
was-
pick.
Way to get on it, Greg.
Y'all want me out of here, right?
I say,
That's
yeah.
not be a record.
No, we just
All
went
right.
down.
Motion, Ms. Holmes, a second by Mr. Hudson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're getting,
Don't let the door hit you.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Marr.
Yes, sir. This is a conditional zoning case 2425. Petition to rezone 5.2 acres of a 9.2 acre tract located at 100 Davis Road in the Wilders Township from agriculture residential to general business conditional zoning. Owner and applicant's Larry Davis. Conditional zoning request is commercial truck and equipment parking. Utilities and services are Corinth Holders Fire District Clayton Rescue Squad. The existing land use is zoned agriculture and residential and is currently in violation for commercial vehicle parking. Surrounding land use is zoned agriculture, residential, and used for those purposes. There is a community business special use district that's approved for a bed and breakfast in the nearby vicinity. I'm not sure if it's operational. Traffic count for this portion of Davis Road is 365 vehicles per day. That was in 2023. It does not appear on the comprehensive transportation plan as needing improvement. It's located within a low-density residential future land use place type on the envisioned Johnston comprehensive land use plan. There were 5 notices sent out to adjacent property owners. This property came in as a zoning complaint to our office in June of 2024 for violation of operating a commercial business in an agriculture residential zoning district and excessive noise from equipment being operated in the early morning hours. And that's all the information I have for you.
Any questions, staff? Thank you, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of case 2425?
Larry Davis, 100 Davis Drive. Yeah, I just basically just need to tell everybody what my intent is there first. So my office is 124 Vance Street in Zebulon. We don't, all my guys, so I have 14 guys in my company. We got about 5 trucks on the road, and all my guys drive their trucks home. So we don't go to the property and meet or nothing like that. There's no fueling on the property. There's no anything. There's no there's nothing on the property. There's not any power, any water, any structures. I did reach out to the fire marshal about access to that and make sure that it was, and he said, as far as he didn't need access with no structures being on the property. And I was reading some of my notes that I had got from I guess the original review that very possibly have to do DOT the first through the right of way, and I'm good with that. I don't have any problem with that. There's nothing goes on the property, so we basically just do concrete work, and so what's on the property is trailers, wood, rebar, and then I'll go there and I will load up 2x4s, or I'll load up rebar, and I carry it to the job. So that there's no work on the job. And the actual complaint we had was a legitimate complaint, but what we were doing was, when I bought the property, it's an easement to get me onto the property, and I'm responsible for fixing the road. I'm responsible for having the road in shape. And so I had 20 dump trucks there, and they were dumping, and it was dusty, and actually I wasn't there when the compliance officer showed up, and I talked to him on the phone. I got back, and my guy that was there said, yes, it's loud, it's dirty, it's dusty, And so that was definitely my fault for doing that, but it wasn't in conjunction with anything that is done on the property. That was just to put gravel on the road that leads to the property, which I would have had to done if I did nothing on the property. But it was legitimate, it was a legitimate thing. We were noisy, we were operating equipment, we were dusty, but it wasn't for anything that we do there. There's nothing done there. Nobody shows up to work there, nobody goes there. It is basically to keep the Bobcats, the extra trucks, and trailers there. So, and there's no fueling there. All the fueling is done on the road. All my guys have cards. They just go to the gas station that they're at, do the fueling. So, and then instead, all my guys drive their vehicles home, and my office is actually in downtown Zebulon. And so, I first originally looked at the plot, looked at the land. The reason I liked it is because there was already a field there. Because we've not cleared anything, we're not planning to clear anything. It is exactly a field there originally, and so I've got 70 or 80 feet of trees between where we park to the property line, and then all the properties around me are all trees, and you can't see it from the road. I took some pictures of the trees as far as buffering, and I took pictures from the road. You cannot even see anything parked there from the road. If you look close, you can see the gate that I have up there. So the reason I bought it was because of it was hidden. And before I bought it, I reached out to planning and asked them if this was a possibility to do this there, and they said, well, as long as you go through the steps and you're approved, you can do this. And I said, well, okay, so that's the reason I bought it. And I'm actually the actual. Do we have a picture with the vegetation on it? Yeah, right there. So this was original, and this is all I'm using of it. Of the 9 acres is that part. The zoning part was a little bit more from what the surveyors drew up, and so. But the only reason I actually bought even the 4 acres was to not have somebody come in after the fact and buy it and say, hey, you got a bunch of stuff parked next to me, and be upset. So I bought both acres, both properties, just to do that. There's an easement to get in that's actually belongs to the guy at next to me there, Mr. Overby, Alex Overby, and so the access to get in is actually right there, and so it's on his property there, but I just want to park some trucks in the field, and that's really it. I mean, like I said, we're 14 guys, 15 guys in the crew. We don't do anything on the property. Outside of, we will be loading up forms on a trailer to carry to a job, and and then I've got 4 or 5 extra spare trucks parked there, and then I have some trucks there that we have, I use for parts or whatever we have that are broke down, and if one of our trucks breaks down, we bring it to there, and we take one of the other trucks, and then I do work on the truck there. But there's no, like I said, no fueling, no oil tanks, no oil cans, no oil drums, nothing there. Nothing is done there that is outside of what you do in your regular neighborhood house, as far as to a vehicle. There's no vehicle in there that exceeds 25,000 pounds of DOT, like a, what do you call that? There's a name for it. Once you get 25,000 pounds, you become a different weight class. So everything is like 350s, 450s, 2500s, that kind of trucks. So it's no big dump trucks. Of course, the morning we had all the complaint was 20-ton dump trucks, and they were delivering about 400 tons of stone. But it was to put on the road, and hopefully that won't ever happen again, because just for the cost of action. I think that's all I got. Is there anything for me?
Any questions of that?
Is that a concrete pad?
It is a concrete pad, 30 by 60.
And
it was listed. It was put on the yes. And what we do, I put rebar there on top of that, just to keep grass from growing around it. We actually at our old yard, we had just laid on the ground, and grass just took it over, and you couldn't even find it. And so, so it is basically just that. So that gives us 1,800 square feet of impervious on the whole site, and that is it.
Okay.
There's no gravel been put down here. This is the exact sandy soil that was there when we got there. The only gravel that we've actually put in is on the actual easement road, and yeah, right there, and so that easement road goes from there, and it hits my corner property right there. So we've got gravel from there to there, and everything else is exactly the way the land is. There's nothing else been done to it. No trees have been taken down. Don't plan to take anything down. I just wanted a place to park stuff that was out of the way and not visual and not to cause any complaints.
So you mentioned trucks. Have you read the conditions that are in the staff report?
I have not.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to agree to these conditions before we take a vote for sure. I'll give you some time to look at those. Any other questions of the gentleman?
Okay.
No, so it's only 4.
Actually, okay, no, I didn't read that part of it. So it's more than 4 vehicles, and it's more than I mean, it's 4 or 5 skid steers. It's probably 10 trucks. It's probably 12 trailers. So it's not. It can't be that. That won't even help me.
Okay. What would you request?
I mean, I would say 10 trucks, 10 trailers, and 10 pieces of vehicles, or 10 pieces of equipment.
10 trucks.
But we only have about 6 pieces of equipment. But just to make sure that we're covered. And I took pictures of the outside. It is surrounded completely by forest. So I was just reading the next part of it, saying about the the buffer. And then on my site plan, we drew a buffer in there that showed them trees, and it's like 70 foot before it hits my line, and then their line, they're full of trees also.
Other questions of the applicant?
I do not see any hours of operation.
Some days we may not be there at all, but you know, it'll be daylight before we come always, and usually home before it gets
If you
dark.
had to have it a condition of,
Sir?
if you had to have a condition, for hours of operation, what would you think it would be?
I would say, I'd call it 6 to 6 or something like that. The only thing I would say was, so say we're in Durham working and a truck breaks down, I will tow it to that yard. If it don't get there till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, it's not, the intent is not to cause anybody any wake anybody up, nothing like that. I mean, the intent is just to park trucks there to have and material there to have. That would be an exception. It wouldn't be the rule.
So you wouldn't be mixing concrete there?
No. We're not a mixer company. We order our concrete from a plant. That's Jay. I order concrete from him. I guess that's why he recused himself, because I do know him from that. So if I go to a job, I order from them. They bring it to my job. There's nothing. There's the only thing we would be doing that would be considered work there is tying rebar sometimes. So if we've got some rebar that has to go in our footings on the job, we may tie them there, load them on a trailer, carry them to the job. But that is just, we actually have little electric guns that go and nothing. There's no volume. There's nothing loud. There's no banging, no beating, no cutting.
Nothing that generates dust or...
Nothing. I said our complaint with the dust was legitimate. I mean, I would definitely say that was true thing, but it was for the driveway. It wasn't for what we're doing up there. We were actually just maintaining the driveway. Well, it was our first time to ever maintain the driveway, so it was an undertaking. It was 20 trucks and 20 tons of shot, so it was disruptive. And if I would have knew that it was actually that disruptive, I was not on site, which is my fault. Still stops at me. I would have at least walked to the neighbors and said, "Hey, I'm so sorry," because that's not what you want to see. I said, my guy works for me even said, "It's terrible. The guys are even upset because they're having to move the gravel in the dust." So it was a legitimate complaint.
So from an hours of operation standpoint, we traditionally will have a condition relative to hours of operation. I do want to know what, and again, this would be a condition of the rezoning. So if you're operating out of these hours, it would be violating the rezoning. So I would like some hours of operation that would encompass everything you would need to do out there.
I mean, I'd say 6 to 6.
6 to, all right.
Would that be Monday through Friday or 7 days a week?
I'd say 7 days a week, because we don't always, very rarely work on Saturday and Sunday. But if we've got rain coming on Wednesday and we've got to have the job finished by Monday to do it, then we will work through the weekend, and I've got to run up there and get rebar after one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So from an hours of operation standpoint.
6 to 6.
6 to 6, 7 days a week, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Other question? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to case 2425? Yes, sir. Give us your name and address, please.
Philip Davis, 2653 Huntsman Trail, Zebulon. I have an interest in if you can, in the plot, the trapezoid there that has the pond in the middle of it.
Okay.
And anyway, my concern from my engineering days is that if you have a fueling or pretty much any kind of maintenance operation that would involve chemicals or lubricants, oil, whatever, that they could get on the ground and be washed down. It's probably about 8 to 10 feet elevation change between his proposed use and where the pond is. So I would like to see conditions into the rezoning limiting maintenance operations as well as fueling and any type of maintenance operations that's involving chemicals or lubricants, motor oil.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. It sounds like it might be a little noisier than I thought it was. Back to my planning board days that I was on, I don't know that I would have put that there, but it probably could be worked out, so.
Any questions of the gentleman? Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to case 2425? Yes, sir.
I'm not very good at speaking in public, but
It's okay.
my name's Tom Campbell. I live at 161 Davis Road, which is across the street from the proposed zoning change. And I am opposed to any sort of change in the zoning there for this type of operation. It's a residential street. We don't need big trucks going in and out, and I know he said they're 25,000 pounds. That's still a big truck. I think it'll disrupt the harmony of the whole street, and I think a lot of the neighbors, I don't know if they've contacted you, but the ones I've talked to are against it. And if Mr. Davis plans on adhering to the county rules and regulations, we already know that he ignored them at the get-go. He says he's just going to park trucks there. Who knows what he's going to do there? I think it's a bad idea, and I hope you consider the rest of the residents on Davis Road and how it'll affect their lives. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Any questions of the gentleman? Thanks, sir. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to case 2425? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Rebecca Gordon. I live at 145 Davis, just across the street from where this is happening. Sorry, I have something written.
It's okay.
So this only came to my attention 2 days ago. I did notice a severe increase in that, in the noise pollution, and while I do understand that that was a part of just actually maintaining the actual driveway. I don't believe that what he described is going to be as noiseless as he's described here. I understand that this is a small concern compared to the many concerns that you guys as a board face daily. And I also want to say that I believe it's within everybody's right to create a business and to try to support themselves and their families. But if I'm to understand this correctly, he did not get the proper permission and rezoning done prior to making this decision. He says that this was a property that he purchased intending for this to happen prior to any request from the board. And I find it disheartening and suspicious. I don't particularly trust what he's said here. Despite being fined and the rezoning still not being approved, they've been continuing to work on the construction. Beginning the project with no notice was disrespectful to the members of this community, as well as the members of this board. I don't know what notices he has attempted to get to me, however, I have not received. And moving rebar honestly sounds loud to me. That's all I got.
Any questions? Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to 2425? All right, bring it back to staff. What's that? Yeah, I believe so. Question about the surrounding land uses.
Oh, okay. What
Is
question?
everything around this AR?
Yes, there is something not too far from there. It's on community business special use, used as a bed and breakfast, though.
Okay.
And I'm not sure it's even operational. It's just, it's that piece to the northwest, or northeast of the top there.
Got
it. Staff recommendations denial based on the inconsistency with the comprehensive land use plan and continued violation on the property. Staff also has concerns with the lack of conditions provided by the applicant, possible problems with emergency access to the site since the roadway needs to be 20 feet wide for fire trucks to access, and the possibility of hazardous materials leaking and contaminating the ground on the site and or adjacent properties.
I make a motion to deny.
Second.
Motion to deny by Ms. Holmes, a second by Mr. Little. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that'll go forward to the Board of County Commissioners as a recommendation for denial. Next on our list is case 2426. Somebody wants to grab Jay. Okay, cool. Thank you.
This is conditional zoning case 24-26. It's petition to rezone 1.51 acres of a 2.901 acre tract located at 3441 Wendell Road in the Wilders Township from agriculture residential to general business conditional zoning. Owner is Anthony Antonia Wilkerson. Applicants Jose Fernando Hernandez. Conditional zoning request is tow truck yard and mechanic shop. It's served by Northside Fire District Clayton Rescue. Its existing land use is zoned agriculture residential and used as a residence. Surrounding land use is zoned agriculture residential and used for those purposes. Zoned I-2 and I-2 special use district and used as an auto salvage yard. Zoned community business, but it does not appear to be operating as a business. Traffic count for this portion of Wendell Road is 3,100 vehicles per day. That was in 2023. It appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as an existing minor thoroughfare with adequate design capacity. This area is located within a low-density residential future land use place type on the envisioned Johnston County Comprehensive Land Use Plan. There were 13 notices sent out. This property came in, this is at the corner of David Road and Window Road. It came in with a whole bunch of other properties on David Road as a violation in June of 2023 for operating a commercial business in an agriculture residential zoning district. Again, this is at the corner as you go into David Road. It is part of that subdivision also. Okay. It's lot 1 of the subdivision. I can't remember what it's called. Windy Hill subdivision.
Is this the same subdivision that had the person at the very back?
Several, you've had
Yeah.
several come in attempting to rezone.
Okay.
And this was also the applicant that came forward with a request for on 2/31 last month. A couple months ago, 2 months ago.
Any other questions of staff? Thank you, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of case 2426? Give us your name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Fernando Hernandez. Address is 3441 Window Road. We're here to petition to rezone part of our property for general business. Me and my dad own a tow truck business, and we just need a place where we can work freely under your guidance. We're not denying to any of the give me one moment, to the conditions that you have placed. There isn't anything, we're not trying to do anything new that isn't already there. I myself live in front of a salvage yard, and that salvage yard's been there for more than 10 years. I have a updated site plan. Yes, so when I did my original site plan, I did not count for, actually I have a different one that specifies, with the, yeah, no, this one actually is more detailed about the fire truck.
Yeah,
and,
that's that one. That's the one you sent yesterday.
yes,
correct?
but this one has, all the measurements and stuff.
Okay.
Could we show this one? So most of their concerns was the fire hydrant and a way to access the building. So I had to update my site plan to 20-foot driveway with a turnaround for the fire truck. Now that I noticed there is a mistake there. It says 10 by 70. It should have been 60 by 70. You might not catch it, but it's... We did go around asking everybody within 500 feet a petition, and I have a list of about 26 people. It's more than you guys sent out. I have signatures. I also have signatures from everybody on David Road, which is the road that's in question. We originally had an entrance on David Road, but we closed it off to not interrupt David Road, and we're trying to get access from the main road. We're trying to follow everything with DOT. I actually spoke to the DOT and got a driveway permit already. They told me about the apron, the stop sign, and stuff like that. I have these signatures in case you guys wanted to.
Pass them around.
I also have a picture of the view from David Road to the property, which is already with vegetation. It's got green giants, and it's fenced in and screened, as it shows. I could pass it over.
Yeah, you can pass it over.
Thank you.
He's got two.
So, yes, we also came in a couple of months ago in another property.
Is this up there now?
Yes.
Is that what you say? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So that's where our door was to David Road, so we closed it off.
Okay.
And we installed vegetation and a buffer.
Okay.
So we try to keep everything within, our area. I wanted to build a shop, but it wasn't the 36 by 60. It's actually what the farmers use, the shelter. It's it's not a shop, it's just to shield us from the elements. The main office is that 8 by 20 office trailer, which is all we really need for just the office to take our calls and dispatch from there.
I take it your petition is for approval, or?
Oh, no, yes, that is.
There's no statement on here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did not pass that around. I'm sorry.
Here you go. This is,
I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm just guessing.
Yes, but mostly everybody there, is on board of what we're doing. We actually help with the David Road itself. We try to maintain it and keep it up to the best we can. All of my neighbors actually signed it. They don't have any issues with me. I have stated hours of operation as well to try to keep the noise to a minimum.
How many tow trucks do you have?
One.
Just one?
Yes, one and a truck with the trailer. So two, but.
What's the largest vehicle you can tow? Or what
Probably like a
size, what
F3.
size is your tow truck?
Oh, it's a 3,500. So probably like a F-350.
Okay.
Smaller than that. We don't tow anything bigger. Just regular vehicles and regular sized trucks.
No large commercial?
No,
vehicles or anything?
no. We don't have.
Like the dump trucks or anything?
No. Just regular vehicles. We're actually trying to set up.
Sorry about that,
No,
y'all.
you're fine. We're actually trying to set up an office so we can get on call with.
The mute's on. I don't know what happened. I apologize.
You're fine. With the Johnston County Police Department, the on-call going and stuff.
You're on the rotation for?
No, we were trying to set up because you have to have an established place and stuff. Do you have any
I
questions?
see where you have there's a concrete driveway going to a residence.
Yes,
That's
that
what I
is.
was about to ask.
Yes.
And you've got a proposed 20 by 30 concrete apron.
Yes, that's.
Is there an existing driveway there also? Or are you
Yes,
gonna-
so I started a petition to do a driveway. I actually, I got it approved,
Through,
DOT. Yes.
so they have already approved.
Yes, so I'm-
that driveway, even though it's not 500 feet from the other.
Yes.
Okay.
It was originally to be so I could, my driveway is very small. And that road is, my driveway is very close to David Road. So I actually got in a second driveway so I can go in with my trailer. We originally weren't gonna do it here. We had a property out on 231, but, we didn't really know about the subdivision that was in front and, all their concerns with that other property. So, I had to use what I have.
So you already owned this property?
I'm actually buying it from them. I took on their mortgage. They were actually going to let the bank have it. And I took it over, and I'm currently paying it off.
Was there a business, for lack of a better word, being run there before you took it over?
Not that I know of, the person before then, he had storage units, like big containers, but no, not that I know of.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So DOT approved both driveways?
Well, the other driveway was already in place.
Okay.
This one was already, it was approved for residential, but now I'm working with them to turn it into commercial.
Okay.
They do require the apron and there's more requirements for commercial. So that is what I'm trying to work with them on it. That's why my original site plan did not have that apron, and now it does.
Okay.
And for clarity, the department will generally allow a second driveway for a residence as long as it's for a single-family residence. As he mentioned, when you start talking about commercial driveways, there's a whole another set of standards that are involved with that.
So are you operating there now?
So we have shut operation. Our stuff is still there, but we aren't, we're just cleaning up and we're trying to, because we were trying to zone in 231, they told us to just stop operation, leave everything where it was, and wait for approval. If we didn't get approved there, we're trying to here, but we have stopped operations. Our stuff is just there.
Okay. So I'm just looking at aerials dating back to 2021. There's a significant number of cars parked on this property. What is that?
So we buy vehicles, and there's a DMV process that you got to go through it before you throw it away. So it's pretty much, you have to report that the vehicle's there, you have to, legally they send out notices to all the owners, and then after that, we got to go in front of the courthouse, they got to give us permission to throw it away, and then we throw it away.
Okay, so you've been operating on this property dating back as far as 2021?
Yes. No, wait. When I purchased it, yes.
Okay. So the cars that have been showing up and being stored on this property dating back to 2021 have been part of your operation?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
When we originally got there, we purchased and they told us that there wasn't any restrictions. We were unaware that there was, like a
Subdivision.
no, not a subdivision. There was like a
zoning.
Zoning you had to go through. Since we were very out into the county, nobody really bothered us. It was we were pretty much in our own little space out there. I did get, there was one time where a DMV inspector came by. He told me, he gave me a permit, well, not a permit, he gave me a login where I can run my cars through, but he didn't tell me anything about the zoning either. So up until the person down at the very bottom of the David Road had an issue with one of his neighbors. I guess the county got called in, and then he picked up everybody that was there. But ours wasn't, nobody called on us that I know of. I do have the signatures from all my neighbors that, they really don't have a issue with it. But we just want a little bit of a place where we can do our business, not bother anybody. We try to keep to ourselves. We're putting the necessary buffers. Those buffers, if you see the green giants behind it, they've been there since I started. So they're, we put vegetation in since we started. It's just by the door. That's where the new ones are. But we've tried to keep to ourselves. We put the fence, we put the windscreen, and then,
Okay, quick question. You put on your request mechanic shop.
Yeah, so it's just so that we can work on our vehicles. I didn't want to do just the towing and then not be able to work on my own vehicles.
And then you made the comment of the 36 by 60 proposed building would be more like a farm.
Yeah.
Just a roof with poles. But according to these conditions, I think I read somewhere, must be enclosed. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, number 10.
Number 10?
It was
Oh, yeah.
it must be enclosed within
Inside
the
of the
fence.
garage or an 8 feet, okay, 8 feet opaque fence. Okay, gotcha.
And they've already put a fence
Yep.
up.
Okay.
Other questions of the gentleman?
Is the hours of operation of 8 to 7, Monday through Friday, and 8 to 1 Saturday sufficient?
Yes. Yes, that's recommended.
Has the fire marshal signed off on his request as far as the 75,000-pound?
So because the site plan wasn't updated, I did send it in to I called the fire marshal himself and tried to provide it to him, but he said I needed to go through planning first, and then he needed to approve.
Number 11 and 12 were comments that he made during his TRC.
I did talk to him.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was making sure.
He's the one that guided me through the process because I wasn't aware of the fire truck requirements, the T turnaround, the fire hydrant needed to be present in my site plan and stuff, but I did talk to him, and he's the one that helped me update it.
If you get a call on rotation with the police, as you were talking about wanting to do at 2 o'clock in the morning, you gonna bring the truck back there or the car?
See, that was yes, I would have to.
I don't know how that would be as an.
Yeah, so that's what I wasn't.
That was why I asked that for
I
the
wasn't thinking
hours.
about my hours with that. I actually, now that I know.
I don't know how to word an exception in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I could put that in there, it wouldn't really be all the time. It would just be pretty much every once in a while.
It would need to be 8 day. I don't know how it would have to be 24 hour, Monday through Friday. But a wreck could happen at 7 o'clock or a Sunday morning at 6. So I feel like it would almost need to be Sunday through Saturday, 24 hour.
We'll turn it back to you. What do you think is appropriate from an hours of operation standpoint? What do you want to request? Because that'll be part of our consideration in the.
Actually, I'm not gonna go with the Johnston County. I will keep my regular business hours. I don't want to bother my neighbors. I actually showed them the hours of operation. They were pretty okay with it. I'm not gonna change it. I'm just gonna stick with my original hours.
Okay.
I'm just not gonna try it with the Johnston County stuff.
Okay. Other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Who else would like to be heard as it relates to case 2426? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gabby Rubio, and I'm at 416 David Road, which is at the end of the neighborhood. So I'm here representing myself and my partner, Edgar Mendez, which is the owner of 416 David Road, and he apologizes for not being able to be here. But we do want to, I'm going to speak on his behalf and my part. So we do want to express that Fernando, him and his family are hardworking people. Like he's shown with the signatures of over 30 people, over 30 homes in the neighborhood, that is Windy Hill, have signed his paper, and I don't know anyone that is opposed. Edgar signed the paper as well. We support Fernando in his effort to rezone his property. And I also did want to express that he is one of the few people that takes initiative to maintain the road. Maybe less than 10 people take that initiative, but he's been there longer than we have. And he was the one that was knocking doors, asking all the neighbors if they wanted to put some money towards the maintenance of the road. And if you talk to the neighbors about money, they don't want to hear it. So it's very few people that contribute to the maintenance of the road, because I know that was a concern before. And he also did mention that the person who created the complaint, or who the complaint was towards, and the food truck people, they did block the road. They were very disrespectful, I would say, but they're no longer there. And I don't think the people that created the complaint are there any longer. So yes, those are a couple of comments, and I do hope that you take into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to case 2426? All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendation was denial based on the inconsistency with the comprehensive land use plan, the continued violation on the property, and also being part of the Windy Hill subdivision.
I think he's making an effort to reach out to his neighbors and do the right thing, for lack of a better term. I like what he's doing.
Is that a motion to approve?
Yes, it's a motion to approve based on the conditions within the report.
I second.
A motion to approve by Mr. Hudson, and second by Ms. Holmes. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right. I will go forward to the Board of County Commissioners as a recommendation for approval. I believe the remaining items on our agenda have been tabled. Correct? What's that? Written decision time? Okay.
Yep.
Whatever makes you happy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We'll start with,
Oh, make sure he knows he's got to come back for the,
And here's all your
He'll need
paperwork,
that,
sir.
we'll need
Yeah.
that for
Oh, okay.
minutes.
Never mind.
make sure, do you have copies of this paperwork? Do you want this?
Yes, if I can have them.
Or do we need those for the note?
do you need to keep those for
Do you
the?
need to keep the petition?
I can send you copies.
We do. Let's keep those and then we can have copies back.
Okay, we'll give you a copy.
We'll get you a copy back.
Okay.
Here, Todd.
All right, we're going to start with Evans Road Tract. I'll need a motion and a second to approve the written decision.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Mr. Sasser, second by Ms. Holmes. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next is River Wind.
I'll make a motion to approve the written decision.
Second.
Motion to approve by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Hudson. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, anything else for us this evening, sir? All right.
Will, I got
Motion
something.
to
Hand me all your wrappers, I'm gonna blame everything on you.
Here with you.